something like money?
Welcome to another episode of Practice Prosperity. We have a special guest. A lot of the business owners I talk to, service-based businesses, they want to scale. They want to grow. They want to bring on people. They want to bring on talent and different functionalities so they can leverage their time in the best way. And that's where Julbert Abraham is coming in. He is a specialist in this area of helping people get things off their plate and help scale their business. So I'm really excited about this conversation. Welcome to Practice Prosperity.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Awesome. So before we get into it, do you mind introducing yourself, your firm, and the type of businesses or clients that you serve?
100%. Thanks again, Randall. Julbert Abraham, originally from Haiti, came to the States roughly 25 years ago. Built a business at 18 while in college. After that, worked in corporate, went and get an MBA, built another business for 10 years, then exited, and then 2.5 years ago started something that I believe can help a lot of small business owners, where we place talent that are overseas to help with some of the day-to-day operation to remove bottleneck from owners and really help them grow and scale quicker. Clients we've worked with, from consulting firm to senior healthcare services to professional service firms. We have over 100 plus clients we've been able to work with, and we have a network of over 2,000 plus remote talent in over 10 countries.
Gotcha. That's awesome. What
Thanks.
would you say is the biggest hesitation for folks utilizing, outside talent, delegating? Like, what is the number one pushback you receive from these business owners?
Funny enough, what I hear is, do they speak English? Do they speak good English, right? English is my third language, actually. So when I hear that, I chuckle a bit because there's millions and billions of people all over the world that English is the language of business for them. So all the folks that we work with, they have to have work with established US-based or Canadian-based companies before they work with us. So do they speak English? Yes. Do they speak excellent English? Not all of them. Depends on the role that they have. You have more client-facing role, their English got to be excellent, while more back-end role where maybe they're just editors that just edit video content. They're not talking to anybody. Their English do not have to be perfect.
Yeah, I think we probably place too much of a premium on conversing back and forth. And to be honest, a lot of the English us Americans speak is not the best English, to be honest.
True.
A lot of slang and nuances, and that's really where my experience is when you have an outside VA outside the country. It's the slang and the nuances that causes the confusion.
Yeah.
Regular
Yeah.
English is not that big of a problem for most of those professionals.
Yeah, I mean, it's the cultural nuances, right? So sometimes depends on the clients, depends on their audience, depends on what they're trying to do. Those cultural nuances plays a major part. So we have to find the right talent that understands some of those cultural nuances that have worked with clients in that space before to kind of make that easier transition.
I think what would be helpful is let's take a 1,000-foot view. So let's really think about the global talent market. Because a lot
Hmm.
of people think, well, if I need help, I need to go down the street. I need to paste an ad on LinkedIn. I need to be American talent. But people, I don't think, can really put their heads on what are the options that are out there. Kind of give us that 1,000-foot view of like when I need help, where are all the places I can get this talent from outside of the traditional way?
All right. So first, right, there's like 8 billion people in the world. So that's the first thing we have to understand, right? We have America, great, but then we have the world. And when you're looking at the world, you have people from all over with different skill sets, especially with technology and the internet. I wish when I was growing up in Haiti, what we have available now was available then, because then, maybe I wouldn't be here in the States. I'll still be in Haiti. Now, with that said, you have different talent pool in different part of the world that are, in my opinion, in our experience, better than others with different things, right? So we found that in different part of Africa, from like Kenya, we have a lot of developers, right? They're amazing at coding. And then in Nigeria, we have a lot of folks that are great with design and creatives. We also have folks that are good with like automations and workflows. When you go to the Philippines, where a lot of people are familiar with, You have a lot of customer support, admin, more like very process oriented. And then when you fly down to South America and Latin America, the Caribbean, you have a lot of customer support talent, right? So different places around the world, we found that you have different pool of talent. Not saying that there's not professionals everywhere. It's just what we found when you're looking at entry level to like lower middle management.
My wondering is, how did all these things get set up? So I have some experience using outside talent. Like, did somebody go to the Philippines, set up these companies to service Americans? Did somebody go to Nigeria, set up these companies to serve America? Like, do you know, and I know this is maybe outside, like, do you know, like, how did this all start?
You know, it's crazy. For me, it's different than a lot of people, right? So I used to run another business before this one, and that company we had roughly 22 team members. Half of them were overseas. So over the past 5, 7 years plus, I built a lot of relationship with people from all over the world, right? So when I started this business, it was starting with one talent that had worked with me before,
Mm,
right, from the Philippines. And one thing I know is good people know good people. So it started with, hey, who else do you know that can do the same thing that you did for this client, for that person? And that one person introduced me to our recruiter. That person that she introduced me to happened to have a lot of friends and a massive network and was like, yeah, I have these 25 people that I think will be perfect. And then start sending me resume and information about each person and said, this will be good for this one, this will be good. I'm like, oh, okay, you have that specific skill set
mm.
as identifying great talent. You're going to be part of our recruiting team to help us build this thing out. Right. So that's how it started with one country. And then as we build a team in one country, then I remember I'd done work with another person from Nigeria. So I reached out to him and said, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. Who do you know? And he's like, oh, my girlfriend is amazing at this, and her friends are amazing at that. Took a look at their resumes, had them work with a couple clients, things going really well. I'm like, okay, who else do y'all know? And then that started populating. And all of a sudden, we had like 500 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people in the network. And then what we did next is we built a separate community just for people that want to work overseas, like VAs and remote talent, and started building that out. We have over 500 people in that one as well. So it's not something that happened immediately. It's like organically happened. And then we start looking at third-party tools like LinkedIn and other platform that we have to tap into specific resources that clients needs. And guess what? Some clients need more tailored talent that we don't have in the network. So we have to rely on some of those third-party systems to identify and recruit and vet the right candidates so we can present those to the talent, to the client.
What if there's this business owner that says, no, things are tight. I can't really afford it. Like, how much should somebody be expecting to pay for, let's say, their first VA? Like, do you do it on an hourly basis? Is it a fixed fee? Like, get people's mind around the cost of going
Yeah.
down this path.
It depends, right, on two things. Do you want to be the one handling paying them every single week or every 2 weeks? Or do you want to be more hands-off and just want them to show up and have a team to manage them, right? If you want more of a management, we charge a management fee because we have a business manager that serves as a liaison. So you're looking at you're paying for a block of time, right? 20 hours a week. We handle management. We charge a flat fee starting at 1,500 a month to 3, 4, 5,000 a month. Depends on the talent and skill sets.
Mhm.
On the other side, if you're like, hey, I want to handle it myself, I don't have a big budget, but I know I need help, then we just charge a flat placement fee where that help us find the person, vet the person, and then we guarantee somebody with that skill set for a period of time. That could be like, hey, I'm just gonna pay you guys 2,500 bucks, and then I'm gonna have somebody that's gonna literally do the work for me, and I'm paying them separately. And the payroll can be as low as $5 an hour, depends on the currency, based on their country and the exchange of currency to 15, 20 an hour. It depends on that skill set, right? I'll give you an example. One of our clients, digital marketing agency, they have somebody in their team that does a specific thing for them and their clients. That person is charging 25 bucks an hour, right? But that same person, if they had it here in the States, could have easily been 70 to 80 bucks an hour. So they're still saving because they're finding the right talent, but because of the currency difference, they're able to have that talent at a better rate.
Wow, wow. So we have been able to identify that there are talented people, capable people, willing to do the prior job at a rate that most business owners can afford. I think it's hard to say if business owners can't afford. Sometimes you can almost argue you can't afford not to do it.
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about what can they be doing, and I think it should be more solution focused. So, like, what is the typical bottleneck that you see most business owners experience where they can't get over the hump, or they're the problem that things is taking so much time that these virtual assistants, these other service providers can help out with?
So you found a lot of business owners, especially in my experience, when they're in that 0 to under 100K mark and sometimes 0 to like 250K mark, where they find themselves where they're spending a lot of time learning, right? So they're just learning, taking this course, taking that course, having this mentor, not saying anything wrong with that, but then too much time learning and then now they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to go. They have a bunch of stuff they want to do. They want to do social media. They want to do this. They want to do that. They want to pay that. They want to do so many different things at one time. The actual job for them is to sell, and that job is being lackluster, right? Where they're not spending time on the phone with clients, they're not spending time on the phone with potential clients. They're spending their time trying to fix a photo for Instagram. Or they're trying to edit a video that they've done, and they're like, okay, this is the fifth edit of one video that they're gonna just put out. You see what I mean? So now they're causing their own bottleneck because they're spending too much time doing mundane things that can easily be outsourced to somebody else who has the skill set that can edit 10 videos in 4 hours while you're still trying to edit that one video for your Instagram reel that's going to get 2 views. Right? So that's what you got to look at. And when we work with clients, we have these tools. I used to do this on Google Excel sheets, but now with AI, I built this tool where they can easily plug in their information,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the bottlenecks, and the tool will tell them, hey, these are the top 3 people you need to hire today. And this is why you need to hire them, right? And this is how you go about doing that. So there are opportunities now with like technology and what's possible with AI that you're able to position yourself where you don't have to do everything. You are the owner. You can either focus on fulfillment and improve the product or focus on sales and bring in new clients. And that could be sales and marketing. Maybe you're doing content. Maybe you're doing cold calling. Maybe you're going networking event. Maybe you're doing something, an activity that's bringing in opportunities in the door.
I think that's so big, because what every business owner has to figure out if they want to grow to a certain size is what is the most valuable use of my time.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean those other things don't get done. It really means that you are probably not the best person to do it at this time in your business.
100%.
And I think the second part of it is sometimes the activities that add the most value are the scariest ones. A sales call, a
Yeah.
networking event, things that are very nuanced and high touch. Those things are what we're scared of, and we kind of hide ourselves in editing
Mm.
that Instagram post, editing that video because it's a very low risk task versus the other
Yeah.
ones.
And claim that I am working in my business, right? Oh, I'm working on my business. I'm doing this website. Well, you can just vibe code that thing and get it done in 2 seconds. So wait, you wasted hours of your day,
Yeah.
and in your head, you're telling yourself, I am working on my business while you could have delegated that task to somebody else and focus on getting on the phone with more clients.
I mean, and that's hard. And I don't know how to fast forward that yet. Maybe you have an idea. I think that's the business owner evolution of being more conscious of what actually moves the needle. Do you have a thought on how to
Yeah.
move people faster down that road?
Because I've built and exited a business, when I started this company, I was able to move quicker because I'm like, I'm not gonna waste time on things that I know is not gonna move the needle,
Yeah.
right? So I was able to get my first three clients before I even started the business.
Hmm.
So I think the way to move fast is to really first identify your goals,
Yeah.
right? If you say, hey, I want to make, I don't know, 100 grand in the next 6 months with this business, well, what are the activities that's going to get you to the 100 grand much faster? And how do you measure that? Right? Are you going to be doing a webinar once a week? Or are you going to be doing a webinar and a networking event once a week? Or you're going to be doing a webinar, a networking event, and record 15 videos to be put out once a week, right? So these are specific activities that you're going to do that's going to create eyeballs and attention on what you have to offer so that you can get in front of the right people to sell what you have to sell to get to that revenue level that you want to get to. So I think it comes down to clarity in the beginning, right? A lot of people starting businesses because they probably saw a post on Instagram and like, yes, I can do it too. And just I'm gonna be starting a business and work in my laptop by the beach and not really think about, having some clarity on what that actually is for them. So if you're able to establish that clarity in the beginning, then everything else can come right after. Because then once you know, hey, this is what I need to do, okay, who do I need that can help me get there? And you can create your organizational chart and start identifying, okay, maybe I could use AI for this particular thing. Maybe I can use a person for this. Maybe I can use a second person for that. And then when you start thinking, okay, I don't have the budget to do all this, you don't have to do all of them at once. Just bite what you can chew one at a time. Maybe all you need right now, it's you and three AI agents, one helping you with copywriting, one helping you with editing, one helping you with something else. And then once that's running and you start generating some revenue, then you bring a person to manage those AI agents and handle this other part of the business, right? So everything doesn't have to be done right away, which create that overwhelm, sense, but just really create clarity on what you want, to me, is by far the fastest way to get to your goals.
I know for me personally, when I feel stressed out within my business, it's probably time for me to take a step back and document what I'm doing.
Mm,
And during that documentation process, that's where I see the opportunities to outsource to some of the service providers you work with. That is like, I should not be doing this. This is hurting
100%.
me. And I think you said this earlier. Just because you're in business does not mean you need to do every part to make that business go. I
Yes.
think that's a tough pill to swallow.
And I agree 100% that sometimes as entrepreneurs, we put so much on ourselves that we don't realize what's out there that can help us, all the resources that we have access to. And that documentation is not just crucial in the beginning, it's crucial throughout the business, right? And what we call standard operating procedures or SOPs. These help identify what needs to be done, but also the level and the steps that needs to be done, and then be able to give that to somebody else to do it, right? Like one quick tip or strategy sometimes is maybe there's something that needs to be done that you don't know how to do, right? Maybe you hire somebody to do it. Ask the person is doing it, ask them, hey, can you record what you're doing and then document it and step by step so we have the SOPs for this available. So if we hire somebody else that's going to help you do this, they don't have to start from scratch. They can go watch the video and follow these steps and do it, right? So these are things that every business need, and a lot of us don't think like that. We think, okay, we have to write the SOPs. No, you don't.
And that goes with moving as you're learning, as your business grows. Yes, you need to document, but are you the person that
Oh,
needs to
you know, yeah,
document?
exactly.
Maybe you're supposed to be the reviewer
There you go.
versus the direct documenter. And I think That's powerful. And I hopefully that's freeing for folks.
Mm,
It's a
I
big,
hope
big
so too.
monkey on the back. So let's say somebody has acknowledged that there's talent out there that can help me. They've next identified that there are bottlenecks that I could be causing or something that I'm not doing that should be done in my business to help it grow.
Hmm.
How do we find that virtual assistant? Like, what are the natural steps using your company or maybe using any type of other services?
So I have like a five-step process that I recommend to everyone when they're doing this, right? So once you identify the skill set, you write everything down, you identify the task that needs to be done, you identify what are some of your non-negotiable and, negotiable, meaning like, do you want somebody that they control their own schedule in terms of maybe they want to work in their own time zone or they want to work in your time zone, right? Or do you want someone that has a more upbeat personality that take initiative? Or you want somebody that wants to wait for you to do the work? Because there's different tiers. You have people that just you have to give them directions for them to do anything, and you have people that are critical thinkers, and you have people that are leaders, right? Once you identify all that, that's step one. Step two is the search, right? You can have a company like ours where we have a team that can do all the vetting and handle all that for you. But if you don't want to go that route, you can have a platform like Fiverr or Online Jobs PH, or you could tap into different Facebook group and you could spend hours of your time trying to find the right people, going through a bunch of applications. If you have the time to do that, please go ahead and do it. And then once you figure that part out, then step three is the interview process, right? So the way we do interview is a little bit different. Before we even get on the phone on Zoom with anybody, we want them to send us a video interview of themselves, telling us about the type of equipment that they have, computer equipment, power equipment, internet equipment to make sure that they can perform their job at the ability that need to perform. A lot of people miss that sometimes. That's the first part of the interview. Do they have the required equipment to actually deliver their work? And then the second piece is how do they sound? What does their English sound like? So they're gonna do an intro video talking about themselves so we can hear them, right? And then the third piece is just when they get on a phone with a recruiter, to ask them more detailed question, more situational based questions to see, okay, can they actually deliver on what they say they can? Then after that, the vetting process where they have to send their information. If it's something like a video editor, we need to see their portfolio. Or somebody that's been out of funnels, we need to see what kind of funnels they've done in the past. Do they have references that we can call in? So that's that whole interview search process, right? And then there's another interview that needs to be done. This is where the client get involved. This is what I call the second round of interview, where you kind of identify the right talent out of this big pool, and then now you have two to three good candidates that the client have to interview themselves and identify do these people fit with their internal company culture. Not only they have the skill set, but can they actually perform the job that they want them to perform the way they want them to perform. And then after that, there's the third round of interview to me, which is the trial, right? This is when you're like, hey, I hired you for the next 7 to 14 to 30 days. This is a trial period to see how well can you do what you said you can do. And sometimes it might make sense to bring in two people to see how well they do it together. And then you identify which one might be the best one for the role. And then after that, the last part, which is the fifth part that a lot of people miss out on, is continuing adding to your pipeline. Don't stop because you just find the right person. That's great. But if you don't have a pipeline, that person can leave tomorrow and you have to start that process all over again. Or if you have a team like ours, you can call us and then we can find people for you. But that part is so critical because you don't know what's going to happen in people's life, right? You have somebody that might get pregnant and then now they can't work. Or there might be, they're like, okay, I just got a child. I want to go on paternity leave. Now they can't work, and now you have to start all over again. Or if you have candidates that already fit those criteria, it's easier to bring in another piece of talent by just emailing or texting somebody on WhatsApp and said, hey, the role is open. Let's go through a 30-day trial period.
There's two things you said that I think stuck out to me. One is personality fit. I used to have a mentor. He said,
Mm.
"Yeah, talent is important, but do you like working with the person?
There we go.
And speak on that aspect on because I think people miss that part. It's like, oh man, it's an amazing video. But if you meet with that person 2 or 3 times a week and it's a
Yeah,
dredge to meet with that
yeah,
person, that's gonna tax you more than you do. So kind of speak on
100%.
like personality fit, culture fit, like
Oh,
likability as a key element to success for both you and
yeah, yeah. I'm glad
the
you said
system.
that because I've seen where great talent doesn't go well with the client
Yeah.
because in the beginning, everything is great. Oh my God, I love this person. They're doing great. And then 2 weeks later, that person say, you know what? I don't want to work with this person anymore. Right? And we're like, what's going on? Why not? What's happening? Well, the way they work and the way I work is very different,
Mm-hmm.
because the talent has certain way that they want to be spoken to.
Yes.
And the client have certain way that they speak to people,
Yes.
right? So I always tell client this, not all of them follow this, but that first meeting that you have with your talent,
Yeah.
you need to identify how do you like to be spoken to and how do you want them to speak to you, right? What does that personality clash look like? Because guess what? If they're like, okay, they feel pressured, they feel stressed, they feel uncomfortable working for you, they're gonna quit. And then they're
Yeah.
not gonna really tell you why they're quitting. You're just gonna see great talent just leaving your door, and you're like, I can't keep them. Well, maybe it's not them, maybe it's you as the problem. And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you might create an amazing work environment, but the talent is lackluster because you might have a very upbeat personality, your team have an upbeat personality, but the client is the talent is very laid back, they're very like they're very subtle, so
Yeah.
it may not work. But you won't find that out in an interview. You find that out after that 30-day trial because then you have to meet them every Monday or every Friday. They're part of the team meeting or they're contributing in that team meeting, right? What do you expect from them? So that expectation meeting, once you pick the talent and you want to work with them, is crucial to succeed and have somebody that stay with you for a year, 2 years. We have talent that have been with clients for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there is that personality fit, there's that skill set fit, but there have been expectation in the forefront so everybody know how to work with each other.
I think that's so good. The second point that really stuck out to me, what you said earlier, and they call it the Noah's Ark method. You bring in two of each animal, and you kind of that way you hedge your bets. Well, for that reasons for mating, but in our case for business, it's you don't know what's going to work out. You don't know
Yeah.
what's going to vibe, and it's not there anything wrong with the assistant. It doesn't mean anything wrong with your business. It just certain things don't clash. Our
Mhm.
life happens. So speak on more of the benefit of bringing on to because a lot of business owners are thinking about it like that's an investment. That's money I could have in my pocket. I could be used to reinvest in my business. Why is that so valuable?
Oh, it's actually saving you money long term because I've seen where on paper the person is perfect.
Yes.
The interview, they're aced it,
Yeah.
while the other person may just be personality. But then when push comes to shove and they both have to be hired for that trial period, that person that was excellent on paper is not as good as the person that wasn't so good at interviewing, right? So when you start seeing that's happening, you're like, oh crap, that's saving you money because now by the end of the 30 days, imagine if you had took that person that looked great on paper and they're horrible, horrible at the job, you would have spent more money long term trying to undo what was done. But if you had picked those two in the beginning, yeah, it's an investment,
Yeah.
but it's a short-term investment for a long-term gain. So you have to look at it like that. And at the end of the day, it's business. You're gonna learn from it. And the more higher you do, the more you start identifying who's the right fit for your organization.
And worst case scenario, worst case scenario, you both have to let both go. But another worst case scenario is that you have two rock stars
Yeah, there
on
you
your
go.
team, and
They're killing it.
repurposing talent is really not that hard.
I think I'm glad you share that because We had a situation internally where we brought in two people to help us with bringing in more appointments, more clients. On paper, one looked better than the other. In the beginning, they're both were performing, but now they're both rock stars. And the reason for that is because they're starting to, that competitive edge is coming out, right? So where one wants to bypass the other and the other is doing whatever it can to, to make sure that things are running the right way. And when you have that, then you have an explosive in growth because everybody want to outperform each other, right? So that's the excellent scenario. But then you have scenarios where in the past we brought two people and they both end up quitting. You know, that's gonna happen. And sometimes it's frustrating as an entrepreneur. Where you're like, damn, I gotta go back and do this all over again. Well, you have to look at it, it's part of the process because once you finally find the right talent for that role, it's just gonna shoot off.
It becomes a beautiful thing. It almost brings a tear to your eyes, and you care about that person more than a lot of other people in your life. Find that special person. But yeah, you're right. So let's say a video editor, one may be amazing at creating thumbnails. The other one may be a
Yeah.
better editor, but they're naturally going to push each other up.
Hmm.
Where naturally, if well, I'm the video editor, you can't get any better than what I do. So I'm just going to continue to produce what I produce.
Yeah, yeah. And the beauty about it now, you need both of them to get to the next level because they kind of complement each other. So
Gotcha.
maybe you instead of having both of them as video editor, you might have one becoming more like your thumbnail or design master because that's that specific skill set that they have. And it's not just them putting out one thumbnail, it's them testing five different thumbnails to find the right one that's performing the best and keep replenishing and updating your past thumbnails so that the editing that's happening keep being at a higher level that you want it to be.
So we start off with knowing that there's talent out there. Then we move to identifying a bottleneck. Now we're learning how to bring on the right talent. Let's take this a potential next step, and I'll be curious if you advise this or not advise this. What happens, or what do you think about VAs managing other VAs? Is that
Um,
is that too far? Is that something you would recommend? How do you think about that?
so remember earlier when I said there's three type of talent. You have the one that just take instruction that don't think, and then you have the critical thinkers and you have the leaders. That's what that is. Sometimes I don't like to use the word VA because a lot of people categorize VA as somebody that's just doing, basic tasks and not realizing that you can have somebody that's managing your books and handling your finances. You consider as a VA, but they're just talent with a specific skill set. You see what I mean? Or you have somebody that's handling sales calls and that's closing deals. You call them VA, but they're closers for your organization, right? So I use the term talent because now it really make you see these people that have this spring skill set, and I 100% recommend it. If you have leaders that have managed teams before, you understand we have people that have managed teams of 20, 30, 100 people before, right? So they have the management skill set. They know how to deal with people. They know how to work with people. They're just now being introduced to the online world
Yes.
and they're still bringing those skill sets to your organization. So if you already have a team, a VA or a talent that they can manage and help you get more out of them, why wouldn't you position them in a leadership role to really help you do that? At the same time, keeping your costs lower because that same talent here in the US that manage hundreds of people in larger organization could have been five, 6 times more in salary than you would have them now.
Spot on. Spot on. I think the thing is if you identify a critical thinker, if you identify somebody just a natural leadership culture fit, why not promote them? You promote them if they're a U.S. person,
Yeah.
and leverage that. And I think that's a magical thing. So let's go into well before we do that, let's talk about AI and
Okay.
how that is affecting the talent space. Let's call it the non-traditional talent. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
non-traditional talent space. Using workforce from across the world. Like, how is that affecting how they work with you? whether you utilize them or not? Like, give us that whole landscape if you don't
So in the beginning, so first of all, when I first started this company, that's when AI, became more public facing, right? ChatGPT is coming out.
mind. Hmm.
So of course, I've used it to help improve my copywriting, improve my business structure, etc. But then it started getting deeper when you start having agentic AI, where these are, bots that are doing things on their own, like the data entry and some of the management that you would need a person to do. Now you can use AI to do it. And in the beginning, it started impacting our business because some folks are like, well, I don't need you anymore. I can have 5 AI agents to do all the work, right? It sounds good,
Hmm.
but then you start realizing that sometimes they're making mistakes that a human should manage, right? And those mistakes can be costly. So if you had gone fully AI and now you got to look back and say, oh crap, I have to fix all these things that are done by AI. Not saying AI is not good. We embrace AI in our organization. We are AI focused. However, the way we're using it is having the team have more knowledge within AI itself, how they're using AI within their day-to-day activities, and how do we manage some of these AI tools. So what we decided to do is bring in people that have specific AI skill set. Like we have prompt engineers that we place with different clients. We have one client, they hire grant writers from us, but they also have a prompt engineer that prompt the AI to find the right grants, right? Which is genius. We have clients that use AI expert that set up different AI workflow for them. That now saving them time because they don't have to try to figure out AI and figure out some AI workflow for their business because we can provide somebody that already has that skill set that can come and set up this full automation and then bring somebody else to manage this. Right. So I think now we're in a world where you need both. You need people and you need AI, right? You need people that are knowledgeable
Hmm.
on AI, right? And because you can do so much with AI from vibe coding to workflow automations, that you need people with specific skill set to be able to kind of help manage the process and so that you have something that's working that's not gonna go off the rail. And then now instead of helping your business, it's costing your business so much more.
And I think, and we'll end this as far as talking about your expertise before we go into your business or how you manage your business. Um, Even though you use AI and even though you use talent, outside talent, non-traditional talent, you still have to document things. Document how you're using AI because to me, the true business is the reiterative process of improving the services that you provide to your clients. So
Mhm.
you have to continually grind that out every time. And I don't want people to lose sight on document, understand what your VA is doing, what you're doing, because if the VA, something were to happen to them, you still have to execute on those things that you promised.
100%, 100%. And I think there's two type of documentation that we encourage. I think I mentioned it earlier. One is have them record what they're doing,
Yeah.
right? So that you have a digital video footprint of it. And then second, have them write out the step-by-step process. And there are platform you can use like Otter and Trainio to kind of help make that easier. So you don't have to actually type everything out yourself. But that's a really simple way to document everything. And guess what? That's gonna help improve the workflow that you're gonna feed to AI. At the end of the day, AI is a tool. So you're feeding it different workflows so that it can do the job that it does at its best based on data that it has gathered.
Yes, yes, spot on, spot on. So let's go into you. So, you, as you had mentioned, you started a business and you exited business. Let's say, what were the top two lessons learned on that journey? I know it's hard to dwindle them down into two, but like, what is something that,
Oh
and
man.
make them applicable to us entrepreneurs, us business owners, if you don't mind.
Um, well, the first, there's a lot of lessons. Second, well, I'm gonna put it this way, right? A lot of us, we preach personal brand. which I think it's great. But if you are the business, you don't have a business,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
right? So to me, that is super critical. And I'm saying it again, if you are the business, you don't have a business. And a lot of people may not, I want people to really think about that. Because if you are the one doing everything
Mhm.
and you the end all be all, then it becomes very, very hard to sell that.
Yes,
So that's one.
it's good.
Two is you talk about documentation, right? Um, there's something called like a data room where you have your financials in order. A lot of businesses are kind of scared of their financials. So
Hmm.
they don't have that in order, right? They don't even want to look at it sometimes. People don't know how much they're making, um, because they're scared to look. But then they're spending, right? So
Not scared to spend.
right? I mean, you in the financial service world, you see that all the time. So cash flow predictions, understand your cash flow, understand, keeping track of your financial is crucial. Um, I believe to me, these are the top two things. There are others, but you mentioned top two. These are the top two that come to mind right now. And that helps us a lot because we documented and we had data room for all of our financials. And I've structured a business in a way where part of it was my personal brand, but part of it didn't rely on me. And that helps with the exit.
I love it. I love it. So on Practice Prosperity, we really focus on two main things when we talk to business owners. How do business owners spend their money and how they spend their time. You've informed me that you do live events. Okay.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people who are like, man, live events are a lot of work. I don't even know how to get my head around attracting the right type of people to those events. So, how do you, what do you think about intentional networking and curating these private events and the benefits it has had to your business?
So it's funny you said that. I do one of our marketing, right? Because we have different marketing. I call them our three-legged stool for marketing for our business, right? We have the online and we have the offline. One of my strengths for years, and on COVID, it kind of like I haven't really leveraged it as much, is connecting people,
Okay.
right? I'm really good with meeting with people, building that belly-to-belly relationship because I grew up in it. And what I do now as a strength is I host private dinners as a way to bring in clients. And the beauty about that is you get to select who to be in that room. And now you think about it, is you're selecting who you wants to be your client. And they get a chance to connect with each other and do business with each other. And it's also helping that local restaurant because it's bringing revenue to that restaurant, right? So it's a win-win-win all around. So when people think of live events, a lot of people think I need to have a conference, I need to have a big networking event. It's going to cost me a lot of money. Well, we structure it where it's profitable.
Yes.
And the beauty about it, last night we just closed another client that attended our dinners, which is gonna be a nice five-figure clients for us, right? From one dinner. So you have to think about how structuring the right room, curating and bringing the right people together can really help your business.
How did you come up with this idea? Have you always been the host with the most? Have you always been, a schmoozer or somebody who's good with entertaining people? I mean, do you make an amazing pasta dish? I mean,
It's funny. Last year, I believe in God and the higher power. I just woke up and I just had this idea, hey, I'm gonna start doing dinners. But then I delayed that idea for like 9 months. I tell other people to do it. I have a cousin of mine in Boston who's also an entrepreneur. I'm like, dude, you should have dinners. You should do this, this, and this. Like, yeah, yeah. He never did it. And then I told somebody else, I told literally 5 to 6 people to do this, and none of them did it. And then by the end of last year, around November, I went to an event that a friend of mine had in terms of what is one last goal you want to do for the end of the year. And execute on it. So I'm like, you know what? I want to have this dinner because I've been telling people to do it. Nobody's listening to me. So let me do it. And it's been like, amazing ever since. So
There's one thing you mentioned. I refer to it as hand-to-hand combat. You refer to it as belly to belly. Like,
yes.
what does that mean to you? Like belly to belly. Like, let's flesh that out because I think as a service-based business, we're not selling a widget or something
Yeah.
that we want to advertise the masses. We can only handle so many people and a very certain type of person. Why is that belly to belly so valuable?
So when I started growing my last business, because I ran it for 10 years, when I first started, I went to an event with a bunch of amazing connectors. Back then I didn't know they were that amazing of a connector, but looking back, I'm knowing now. And one thing somebody said is like people do business that people that know, like, and trust. And yeah, you can build trust on camera, you can build trust on Zoom. There's nothing better than shaking somebody's hands and eating a meal with them. That's a different level of intimacy and connections, right? So when I'm talking about to belly, I'm talking about it's a real person next to you that you're actually shaking their hand. You're learning about their kids that's in soccer practice. They're learning about your dog, and it just create that environment where you're able to build trust fast, and they know you now, they like you, right? Which create opportunity much quicker. I think as we are more in an online world, I'm seeing there's a big trend coming where real life is big is people are craving doing things in real life. So us hosting these experiences, it's at the right time for where people are right now.
I think that's valuable. It's like, let's say you take somebody out to lunch and all together it's a $90 lunch. Or you can meet with them 10 times online. And let's say those are equivalent, which I don't even think it's still equivalent yet. Seeing somebody face to face is like, what is worth your time?
I agree 100%. I think that $90 lunch is worth my time because, it's kind of like you put that 90 bucks on Facebook ads and hoping you get that one person
Yeah, yeah,
to to join. And sometimes that 90 bucks you put on Facebook ads, you probably won't get that one person. You get a bunch of leads, but
yes.
none of them can turn into anything, while that $190 over lunch turn into a six-figure deal.
Yes. Yes. And it's really that simple and it happens faster. If you want to grow, like you mentioned, I want to grow to 100 six figures in 1 year. Well, you have to do those things that create that connection faster. And even if that's not your client, they could refer you too.
Yeah, that's the other piece that people missed out on. Like, we were able to get referrals that's worth north of six figures from people that have attended the dinner. I could have said, "Oh, the dinner is a flop. Nobody attended." No, they're the people that came to the room. They're now see you as that host of the party, and they now see you as the connector. And guess what? Because you've seen and meeting with so many different people, you're able to make connections for them that a lot of people can't, right? Don't get me wrong, I still value online marketing, right? I still do webinars, I still tap into other people's audiences. I think that's not gonna change, but I think a good hybrid is having the online and offline.
I think that's so good. I think, yeah, it's kind of, to me, online is a means to an end to see somebody in person. Even if they're in another state, I'm like, hey, when you're in town, we have to
Yeah,
do
let's connect. Let's meet
um,
up.
anything. I love that. So let's talk about reinvesting into the business, making the product
Yes.
better, all those different things. How do you think about investing in people, training, technology to, you know, make the business easier on yourself, but also providing a great service to the people you're serving?
I'm 100% behind that. I've spent in my career over four or 500,000 investing in coaches, conferences, webinars, and just myself.
Mm,
And then I'm looking at the people that because the part of personal development. to me, it is crucial as you grow your business. Whatever business you grow, you still need to have that personal development. So, and that could be you buying a book, you buying a training, you going to a seminar or workshops, right? Not just for yourself, but for the team as well, right? And that could be you're investing in an online course that they have to take or training that you want them to take. So I truly believe if you're able to allocate a small percentage of your hard-earned dollars toward reinvestment is crucial. Even when you're like, oh, I made all this money, now take a percentage of that profit and reinvest it in the business. And that investment can happen not just on you, but also on your team. And that team can be here in the States or it could be overseas. Because don't think that these people overseas doesn't need some of the stuff that you know here, right? If you want them to be better at what they do, you got to provide them with the tools, right? Because they all have, just like us, they all have things going on in their head. They all have a day-to-day life. So being able to create that environment where you consistently invest in your team, in your people, in yourself
Mhm.
is super important, right? Like I'm here at this hotel taking some time for myself. That's an investment to myself, right? So I can be a better leader for my team.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that on a lot of different levels, and there's varying variabilities, but your business only gonna grow as much as you are.
Yeah,
Your level of maturity, your can, and stuff happens that people can bypass that slightly, but it's gonna catch up to you
100%.
eventually. I know when I work with some of my let's call it untraditional talent across the seas, I would send them podcast webinars, register them for different things because as why would you not want your talent to be as
Yeah.
well equipped as possible?
100%, like we have to, and I think a lot of people missed out on that. They're like, oh, I just have this talent. I'm just gonna, just give them work, but now really thinking about the mental side of it and how some of the things that you're absorbing here can help them become better at what they do. And now they become more grateful because you show that you actually care. You're not
Mm.
just, you know what I mean? Like caring is so critical, man. A lot of people treat these people like they're robots and now realizing these are people just like you and I.
They have hopes, dreams, aspirations, feelings, concerns, worries, and they're scared at
100%.
times. And
Yeah.
if you don't crack that code, which you would crack a code with your friends, you would crack code with the American workforce. You that to me, when you talk about investing in yourself, that is actually a talent you have to
Yeah.
develop as a leader if you decide to lead.
100%.
Man, that's good. So a lot of business owners, so we talked about how you invest to grow revenue, how to invest to grow your business and make a service better. But then you have to actually bring in income to pay for your lifestyle. How do you think about owner's compensation? What methods do you use? Because everybody uses something different. And I love hearing how different people do different things.
Yeah. So, right, everybody's an independent contractor for us. I'm the W-2 person, so I get a percentage paid to me twice a month, where that's my owner's pay, right? But then I also get bonuses, depends on how well do we do as a business. And what I see is that sometimes people would just take a draw. Well, you can, but certain level, you still got to pay taxes. So if you can put yourself on payroll, it helps you in terms of paying taxes long term. We use different platforms for that, right? So we have QuickBooks, we have what is it? Oh, geez, Gusto. So we have different platform that we use to help with, paying ourselves, bringing in income, and also long-term investment too, right? So a percentage of the profit is allocated aside for testing and different investments opportunities as well. And the way I look at business is I try not to keep it just one revenue stream because when you have one revenue stream, you're close to nothing. It's building within the business additional revenue streams, right? So when you're looking at, yeah, we sell VA talent, but we also make money doing dinners, right? We also have a consulting opportunity where people that are looking to buy businesses can consult with us on how they can bring in remote talent and AI into the business, right? We also have digital products, right? So we also have partnership opportunities. So creating additional revenue streams in the business is another way to kind of create ways to pay yourself, where now it's more of an asset. You're not going to create 20 different businesses. One business, you can have 7 to 8, even 10 different revenue stream coming at that one business if you structure it the right way. And you may not know that, but there's a 100 different ways. I can spend all day do a whole masterclass on how many revenue stream you can have in one business.
How did you decide? You don't have to go through the exact amount, but how did you decide like how much to allocate towards the W-2 versus how much do I withdraw at the end of the year just because I don't want to leave
Um,
it in the business?
well,
Like,
it's a
how do you
couple
think about
things.
that?
One, it's having the right people around you, right? Having accountant, fractional CFOs, and so forth, and them looking at based on where your revenue is and your needs and your expenses. Oh, maybe you need to allocate 10% or 15% that can handle some of these things, right? And also I like to give as well,
Mhm.
right? So either to my church or to different nonprofit organization that I'm associated with. So how much of that goes toward giving back to your community? Um, like having the right team helps you do that, right? So we have bookkeeper, we have accountant, we have fractional CFOs that we use their services to help us internally.
No, that's good. So it's like you're utilizing, well, I do have a personal thing. I have to, a nugget I have to crack every month, my lifestyle, but I also add in the expertise of these experts, the accountants and practice CFOs.
Yeah.
This makes sense for your business and the goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah, and as the goals change and things evolve, then you might need different professionals, right? Maybe you might need a tax planning strategist that can show you tax strategy that you never thought about. Or you might need someone like yourself that's helping them plan out their life and plan out their business, right? So I think um, having access to professionals like you is critical for any business owners because I can tell you, I didn't know when I first started my last company, like 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, I didn't know what life insurance is. I didn't know what disability income was. I didn't know any of that. I've never heard of these things. But because I was out networking belly to belly, I met my first advisor, right? Who literally sat me down and broke down these things to me. A lot of business owners, we don't know that. We're not part of that where we never heard of it. And I've met people that make millions of dollars that never, that's not their world. So they don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I think that's spot on. So given our conversation, like you come off with like a little bit of a real estate person. So there's many different ways to build wealth. So one way is to take the money from your business, invest it in the market. Based off our conversation, you're big on continually acquiring different businesses, almost like real estate property to give you those streams of income. So what is your thought process on building wealth through acquisitions? Because I think this is interesting.
Ah, to me, that's like, this is a gold mine that a lot of us don't ever or even think about. And I think I found out about this at a later time
Yeah.
because I didn't really find out about it until when I was close to selling my first business, right? So I strongly believe if you're growing your business and you want to grow faster, it makes sense to acquire some of your competitors or some of your businesses that complement what you do that will service your client better. Because now you have a bigger engine that can be placed in one platform and you can package it, maybe roll it up, and then you can have an exit that can set you up for life. That part to me is like finding gold because if you do this the right way, now you don't have, because what happens sometimes, a lot of business owners will build a business, they'll get to 2 to 3 million in their plateau and they just stay there, right? They'll get really comfortable. They're making certain amount of money every month and they do this for 10, 15, 20 years. And now they want to sell the business because their kids doesn't want it. The kids just want to do TikTok videos and nobody else want it. But then they're stuck because the time is changing. Whatever they were doing is changing. So the business is not valued as much as it did. They had a nice living, but that's it. But if you had built around it and acquire other businesses that are similar and maybe complement what they do, now they have a stronger platform that when they're ready to sell, they might not be able to sell the whole thing, but they can probably sell pieces of it that make sense.
Nah, I think that's so good in the sense of one element that you hit towards the end, which I want to dive down, is you don't have to buy their whole brand. You don't
Yes.
have to buy their whole business. You can take the book or the segment of their business that, like you said, you can grow faster. They're
Mhm.
underutilized them. And if they are a business person, they will happily sell it to you because you're going to buy it at a slight premium than it's actually worth.
100%. And you're gonna be able to maximize the hell out of what you just purchased. So I think that's kind of like a hidden gem that a lot of us don't think about because we've been taught or been trained of, grow, 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 get more customers, while it may take you longer to get 100 customers while you can buy 100 new customers.
It's right. It's good. It's good. And but it goes back to what he said. You have to go belly to belly with somebody before they're even thinking about selling a business to you.
Oh yeah.
Especially if they're not of the mindset of like, let me get my house in order. It's kind of like an
Hmm.
emergency thing. And here you come. Hey, I will service the heck out of your clients. um, the last question I ask everybody is a show about practice prosperity. What does a prosperous business mean to you? What does that mean?
Mm. That's a really good question. To me, a prosperous business, it's kind of like it's a machine that not
Mm-hmm.
only feeds you, your family, but feed all the other families around you. That you can sell it if you want, but you can also keep it or sell it to the employees. Like there's something called ESOP where, you can maybe if it's something where you come into your last days and nobody else in your family or heir want it, you can sell it to the employees and now it's passed on to them and they can keep running it, right? So a prosperous business to me is something that can always give, not just to you, but to others.
That's powerful. I never thought about that. A business that is always going to give. Yes, it'll take care of your lifestyle, but it does so much more to so many more people. And
Mhm.
I guess that also would keep that fire burning in us as entrepreneurs. Keep going.
100%.
So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "Hey, I'm the bottleneck," or "I had no idea there was so much talent overseas that I can probably obtain for a reasonable price," what is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
My name right here. You could put it on Google. You could DM me, Instagram, LinkedIn. You could go to my website, taskmavenservices.com. You can even go on my YouTube where I have tons of videos on how to automate different businesses. So I am super reachable. Or you can even text me, right? My 267-255-1509. So there's many ways to get to me if you need help. And not just me, but my team. We can help you remove that bottleneck and get your time back so you can go spend time with your kids and family watching the game.
I love that. I love that. So one thing I enjoyed about this conversation, it was hyper practical. Like this is something that I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if 80% of business owners should really consider. Now, I would say even closer to 95%, just consider. Doesn't mean you have to go through, but they should consider using some type of outsourced talent, using services like yours so they don't have to do the day-to-day management elements of it. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'd like to thank you, Julbert
Thank
Abram,
you.
for joining us today. And like I said, we will be belly to belly pretty soon, I assume.
Yes, 100%. We got to make it happen, brother.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Feeling the pressure? You're not alone. I'm Randall Avery with Diesel Wealth Management, and I specialize in simplifying wealth for those who are near retirement and business owners. We'll create a plan that fits your unique needs so you can actually enjoy the wealth that you built. We consider our firm results driven with a touch of fun. Ready for clarity? Click to learn more and schedule your free discovery call. Let's build the financial future together.
The more I know, the more money I can make.